Good morning, Boker Tov. So right here, as I cross over the state line from California to Nevada, one after another, you see all these huge casinos. And besides for the fact that gambling is forbidden in the Torah, for a number of reasons, but we all know that it's addictive, it's destructive, it can unfortunately take money from a person who's not really willing to give up their money. So it's considered theft in Jewish law. But it misses the whole point of what money is. You see, people who go gambling, they want to make fast money. They want to make it quick. But that wasn't God's plan. You must wonder sometimes, why did God have to create the world in a way that we have to toil by the sweat of our brow to earn a living? Why couldn't money just come easy so nobody would have to be lacking, nobody would have to exert so much effort into earning a living? Why did God make the world in a way that we all have to toil in order to earn a livelihood? And Kabbalah explains the following idea. There are 4 levels of creation. There are inanimate objects like rocks and water. There are plants, trees, vegetation. Then the 3rd level is living creatures like animals and fish. And then there's human beings. The goal of every level of creation is to be elevated to the higher level. So the water irrigates the plants and helps it grow. And then the plants and the grass is eaten by the animals. The animals and the fish are consumed by the human being. And when the human being uses their energy and their strength to serve God, it elevates all the levels of creation consumed within the person to its divine purpose, to the level of holiness and godliness. And this explains what happens in this week's Torah portion. 2 of the tribes, Gad and Reuven, say to Moses, we don't want to cross over into the land of Israel. We'd rather take our portion on the eastern bank of the Jordan River. And at first Moses gets upset with them. He says, are you going to make the same mistake as the spies, not wanting to enter the land of Israel? And they say, no, we'll fight shoulder to shoulder, but then we'll resettle on the eastern bank of the Jordan. And they say we will build pens for our flock and cities for our children. And Moses consents. And the question is, why does Moses consent? After all, they're rejecting God's plan to go into the land of Israel. And the Hasidic masters explain that the intention of these two tribes was to elevate not just the holiness of Israel, but all of the diaspora. They began the model of bringing holiness into diaspora by going on to the east bank of the Jordan. And that's why they asked to build pens for their flock. They talked about the pasture for the animals. Why? Because they understood that the real purpose and message of Judaism is to bring holiness and elevate even the lowest levels, all the levels of human nature and creation, to not just live an aesthetic life in a holy environment, but to go into the mundane, into the physical, into the diaspora, into the earth, into the cattle, into all levels of creation, and elevate everything for a higher purpose. And that's the problem with gambling. Gambling, God created the world, not that we should just get money easily, but that we have to engage in this world and do business and commerce and work the fields and milk the cows and do all the things that will engage us in daily living in order to elevate all of creation. And that's why when you give charity, you're taking the money you earn through all of your hard work and toil, which you engaged your mind and your heart and your physical body in earning this money by the sweat of your brow, all your hard work and your sweat, and you're giving it away to charity. You're elevating with that charity all the levels of your being and all the levels of creation. And that's the mistake of gambling. What people don't understand about money is that money is not an end unto itself. It's a means to a greater purpose. The greater purpose is to elevate all of life, to elevate the mundane world around us, to engage in it. And then by giving charity, we elevate all of creation to a higher purpose, to kindness, to goodness, to righteousness. There's a story a number of years ago. There was a wealthy Jew by the name of Edward Reichman, a billionaire. He passed away and he left 2 letters for his children. The first letter, he said, open this before the funeral. They opened it before the funeral, and in it he said, I have one final request. He said, I have a very special pair of socks. You'll find it in this drawer in my bedroom. I want to be buried in these socks. They didn't understand the meaning of these socks, but they went to ask the rabbi what to do. And the rabbi said, well, in the Jewish law, everyone's buried in shrouds. You can't wear garments. You can't wear personal clothing. Everyone's buried the same way, in white shrouds. So unfortunately, they buried him without the shrouds. The second letter said, open it up after the Shiva. So after the 7 days of mourning, they opened the letter. And there the father writes to his children, and he says, my dear beloved children, I know that I'm buried without my socks. I'm now in the world of truth. And I asked you to bury me with my socks to teach you one final lesson. And that is, despite the fact that I have billions of dollars, I can't even take a pair of socks with me to the next world. All I can take with me is the good deeds, the kindness, the righteousness, the tzedakah, the charity that we gave throughout our lifetime. And therefore my final will and request and message to you is, we've been blessed with great wealth in our family, but remember, we don't take any of it with us. And therefore make sure to live humbly and to use our wealth and our resources that God has given us to help others, because all we take with us is our good deeds and our tzedakah, our merits to the next world. Have a wonderful day.